We are live. What's going on? Back for our traditional Thursday stream. You got Crypto Future. You got Maximus Crypto. You got Rule Black. What is going on, guys? Max, how you doing, brother? What's happening?
I'm doing great. Glad to be with everybody. And I know this is the first time, to my knowledge, that we've done this try live stream. So we are literally broadcasting from all three communities. So shout out to the Rue crew, shout out to the Future crew, and of course, shout out to you guys on Maximus Crypto. Really, really appreciate you guys tuning in. We're going to talk a lot about, like what Rob was talking about. Is it going to be a crypto crash coming? On my channel, I think one of the things we're talking about is basically, uh, some of these topics that maybe people aren't aware of, which is like, is everything about to change? Like Brad Garlinghouse gives a 90% chance of clarity by April, and some people say, nope, not happening. Well, we're just messengers. So we're going to share all this. We got David Sachs interview. We got a lot of stuff we want to get into, which is things going on right now. So it'll be a little bit of like some of that deep dive stuff, but not so much of that. Focusing more on like what the community is, what's on your guys' minds that's happening right now. We recognize all of that. All three of us have been putting in a lot of work. So you may feel as though like I'm not seeing a lot from one guy's side, maybe my side or whoever's side, maybe some of these guys, but I best believe we have been putting in the work, and we have some big announcements that we'll share with you guys probably in the next few days, give or take, depending on when we get some of the stuff done. But so glad to be back and glad to see you again. Rue, what do you got to share with our audience?
Hey, I'm just gonna build off of what you're saying with Brad and with David Sachs. As we know, David Sachs is an investor in Zebek through Craft Ventures, right? Shout out to our guy Creative Control for finding that. So all of this has Zebek implications. If this can be out by April, one of the things there is Simon. Simon will be at XRP Las Vegas. I think it's April 30th through May 1st. So it's right around the time he might say something nice because he's going to be a keynote speaker. So we definitely want to keep our minds and hearts and eyes on that and see what happens there. But I'm excited to be here with you guys for another banger.
Absolutely, guys. I just want to throw into a couple super chats as we want to make those our priority. Obviously, guys, if you have a question, you have an altcoin or something, you want it to make it a priority for us to get to, make sure you send it over in a super chat. Good evening, Rob and crew. Thank you for all you do. Ken, Rockhound for life. No problem, brother. We got the fries that'll cross your eyes, my friend. Isaac, my dude, my fam. Isaac's been with me the whole time, a couple years now. Says, what's up, Rob? Hope all is well. I'm waiting for a lower dip. Then I can begin. Let's go, baby. There you go. I agree. I agree. Did you guys want to dive into the chat a little bit before we get going, or?
Yes, please. I would absolutely love to do that. Give me just a second. I want to recognize guys from Maximus Crypto Crew. Thank you so much for tuning in. Big shout out to Francisco Dennis Leal. Good to see you, brother. Really appreciate you. Turtle Ranch. Yes, hello to you. CTDKF says hello, and GS6095 OG of the space. Glad to see you. And again, shout out to everybody who is joining from our simulcast, right? From all three channels.
Yeah,
Yeah, the
I'm gonna.
Brew Crew is out in big effect here. We got A Train, Hitter All Day, Carlton Way. Let's see here. Wow, yeah, we got a lot of guys here. From my
Chat's
side,
going, man.
Pinot Q. Yeah, this chat is moving, man. WF Capital Management, Hitter All Day, Corey Williams, 96. So yeah, thanks guys for coming through and being here as a part of the Triple Threat, soon to be renamed Triple Threat. Let's go.
Isaac says, Rob, I have four blue chips that I want to build up. How do I determine which one? Ask me over on the Patreon, Isaac, and I'll help you out. But what I'll say to you, man, don't let the anxiety get to you, brother. You have time, right? Time's on your side. Pick one, whatever you have the most conviction in, and chip away, man. You're going to have some time on your hands, okay?
Just
Let me
something
just.
real quick. Oh, go
Yep.
ahead. I was gonna
Oh,
say something real.
go ahead. I'm just scrolling through the chat, man, to make sure there's no questions.
Yeah, no worries. I was just gonna say, in the future, we'll get things worked out where even some guys like myself and Ray will be able to highlight it on the screen for you guys. So just to give you a little feedback, Rob, there's like for myself, it shows like a paper clip, and then if it's not
Yep.
somebody from my own community, yeah, it says that. And how we'll fix that is to make us admins beforehand. But we're working this all out, and we'll get it all, all these things fine tuned for you guys in the future. For me, I mean, I haven't done a live show since the Maximus Crypto 4-year anniversary, which was December 13th. So it's a privilege to do a public live with these guys. But in reality, we do a live every single week. At least we did up until this week, right? Which was on Patreon exclusive. But nonetheless, glad to do a live for everybody. That was pretty cool.
Yeah, Terry says, I'm not sure which channel he's on. One of your guys, he says, yeah, Deutsche Bank agrees to agreement with Ripple. I did cover that this morning in a live stream, and I gave an honorable mention to the fact that they did become a primary validator for Canton Network as well. So very big things coming out of Deutsche Bank for sure. We talked about that yesterday, didn't we, guys?
Yes, we did.
Yes.
And, we have a lot of videos that are going to be coming out. So we're doing lives, we're doing recorded, we're trying to get things scheduled. We're trying to scale things up, but we'll get more into that. But yeah, by all means, read super chat. Thank you so much. Go ahead, Rob.
This new ZBEC announcement with World Mobile is huge. Well, yes and no. It's not actually a new announcement. They announced it about 3 months ago, but it's just finally coming to fruition now. But you are right that it is huge news, right? Absolutely.
100%. I was talking about it today in a live. I think this is really going to make things great for the Dubai, Southeast Asia area that they're with, because it'll be very easy for companies to pay any worker in that area if they're doing some type of job for them. So imagine like gig economy, but for anybody in that area doing, let's say, data entry, coding, you name it. Now, all they need is a SIM card and a phone, and they have a bank in their hand where they can have access to American dollars instead of their local currency.
Yeah. D-Stands asks, hey guys, have a question about Decent Biometric Wallet. Let's say you set up the wallet and something happens to you. Is it possible for your spouse to access the funds? It is, if you make sure you leave your spouse the seed phrases for your wallet, right? If they do not have the seed phrases, you are pooched.
I just also want to give you guys a heads up. So it's not only just about adding the seed phrases. Look at it from this perspective. We are content creators. We provide you guys lots of videos, right? So what you also want to do is, even if you're not a content creator, you want to actually be a content creator temporarily for your loved one. You want to take a video and put put yourself like in their shoes. God forbid something happens to you. We don't want that to happen. But let's face it, we all have life insurance. Well, not all of us, right? But a lot of us do have life insurance. So if you already have a life insurance policy, you already understand the concept if you're going to go away anyway, right? So why wouldn't you not want to take the steps to basically make a recording of like the steps to make this all come together? Because let's face it, we could speak to a family member, spouse, you name it, and say, oh yeah, my seed phrase and so on. When we talk about crypto all the time, like even right now, like a lot of times that goes in and out of both ears, right? So you gotta make a video, something step by step. All right, here's what you gotta do: power up the computer, even if they're not computer side, just all sorts of steps. Like click here, do this. Make it as seamless as you possibly can. So when it comes to that, this person isn't relying on other people, because that's going to be delayed again. And like you got to do it. So set some time to do something like that.
Yeah, a full step-by-step tutorial for your loved ones is absolutely a fantastic idea. Yeah.
Oh, so, one more thing. Sorry. One more thing. Get yourself a bag. Like if you store your seed phrase in a folder, or some people do that. Like you want to put like a a bag that's like water resistant, you will never know. Like some people are like, oh, it's never going to flood, or my roof isn't going to cave in. These are all extra steps. I'm just throwing
till it
out there.
does, right?
Yeah.
It's not going to flood till it does.
Exactly.
Yeah. Yeah, I personally have like a fireproof safe, so stuff like that, right? Little precautions.
Awesome. Yeah.
All right, guys, so let's dive right into it. We never really discussed who wants to go first, but I know Rue always likes to go last, so.
Well, what I was thinking is this is a treat for you guys, because we understand that, for a lot of us, it's like, it seems as though, are we on the cusp of something good happening, or are we on the cusp of like just the most horrible crypto winter ever since like 2022, 2023? We realize all that. So we want to say that today is a good day. And what do we mean by that? Well, more people filter in. And if anything, we'll share exactly what we mean when it comes to just that. Today is a good day. Is it? Do you really believe it is?
That's so much funnier because people call you the Filipino Ice Cube since you said that.
Right? Yes. So if I'm
Max almost effed around and got a triple-double today, guys.
Yeah, so I hope you guys appreciate this, and I've shared it before on Maximus Crypto. We've had other remixes and so on, and I do have a collection of these. They're on the Patreon, so if that's your thing, check it out. But as more people filter in, consider smashing that like. This video is for you guys. This is for the community. Hope you enjoy it. Here we go.
Seems kinda odd. No barking from the dog, no smog, and Mama cooked the breakfast with no hog. I got my grub on, but didn't dig out. Finally got a call from a girl I wanna dig out. Hooked it up for later as I hit the go, thinking, will I live another 24? I gotta go, cause I got me a drop top, and if I hit the switch, I can make the ass drop. Had to stop at a red light, looking in my mirror, not a cop in sight, and everything is alright. I got a text from Kim, we can love all night. Called up the pals and I'm asking you, which park are you playing basketball? Got me on the court and I'm trouble. Last week played around and got a triple-double. Freaking fellas everywhere like MJ. Can't believe today was a good day. Today was a good day. Can't believe today was a good day. Today was a good day. Today was a good day. Yeah.
I see the comments, some of you guys saying, you gotta be careful with copyright, guys. Guys, that was all made with AI. I don't know if you guys realize that, and there is no copyright on that. It's never been flagged by that. I already ahead of you guys when it comes to that. If I thought there was going to be copyright on that, I wouldn't have bothered to even share it on the channel. So it's been shared numerous times. It's never been flagged or anything like that. So anyway.
100%. Okay, so let's get rolling along, baby. Let's get rolling along. Rue, do you want to kick us off? Max, you want to kick us off? What's up, man?
You
Well,
can
real
start, Max. I
okay.
was a lot of the clips that you were going to show, I had too. So you go ahead and start.
All right. Well, thank you so much to everybody who's joined us. From my end, I see that there's a decent amount of people who are tuned in. I appreciate you guys tuning in, and all the communities and so on. It does mean a lot to us. So thank you for that.
Yeah.
We're gonna first start off with basically it's an announcement from Coin Bureau, believe it or not. And the reason why I want to share this is because a lot of this will make sense to you in light of everything that's currently going on in the world of crypto, is retail, you name it, right? So let's share this. Big shout out to Coin Bureau. A lot of you guys follow them, but I thought this was a really cool clipping. So banks still blocking crypto users, even with ETFs and growing institutional adoption. Investors say banks are freezing or restricting accounts for crypto activity. As crypto goes mainstream, parts of traditional finance still aren't on board. How long ago was this posted? Literally early today, and this is why we are presenting to you guys not just so much of the deep dive research that we normally do on our channels, but providing what's going on in the now, literally right now. So let's blow this up so you can see it a little bit better. And we see here, basically speaking, like the providers. In fact, I'll blow it up even that much more because I realize some of you guys watch from your TVs or your cell phones. We appreciate all you guys everywhere who tunes in, however way you guys tune in. So let's point this out. So number one, Revolut. Myself and Rue cover Revolut quite a bit. We know that Revolut holds a lot of QNT. I mean, we're talking a lot. Big shout out to guys in the space like Mine Crypto. He covers a lot of the movement and activity of what some exchanges are doing, and et cetera, et cetera. So bank transfers are allowed, debit cards allowed, and so on. Lloyd's Group of Scotland, they allow it all. But it's interesting when you get more into the terminology. It's like, why would Barclays want to restrict some of this, right? And again, some of these other ones, Nationwide, interesting to see this as well. HSBC of the UK, okay? Restrictions. Not so familiar with Monzo, but if you're watching from overseas, maybe you know about them. NatWest, right? I covered in the past that NatWest, I believe, is part of the ISO TC307 standard, which is connected to Quant. Interesting to see some of these restrictions. Getting further down into it, Santander UK. So right there, we really see correlation where you have numerous examples of boom, UK here. I believe even NatWest is both Australian UK, HSBC UK, even Barclays, et cetera, right? So that's interesting. And then when we get further down, it's like, here's the doom and gloom. Got to point this out. Virgin Money just flat out blocks it. Metro Bank, Starling Bank, TSB, Chase UK. Again, UK, right? And then even Wise, we share some integrations of the Quant Overledger with Wise. So they're like 50-50 on this. And as you see from Wise, for bank transfers, they have it blocked, but for debit cards, it is allowed. So we'll talk a little bit more about that in a bit from our panel, but before we do so, we're going to kick it over to Watch Your Guru and play this clip. Just like you guys saw in the thumbnail, Lisa from, I believe on all three channels, we're running the same thumbnail. So if we're not, bear with us, but Watch Your Guru posted this morning. Ripple CEO Brad Garlinghouse says there's a 90% chance crypto market structure legislation will pass by April. So after we play this clip, we'll get some insights from a panel. And if anything, check out some of you guys' comments as well. And again, thank you for being here. Consider smashing that like. Here we go.
Who's been an advocate. I think it's now 90% it will pass by the end of April. I had said a couple weeks ago, I thought end of April. At the time, people thought that was a little optimistic. There's a meeting today with a lot of leaders on both sides, the crypto and banking, in the White House, who's been an advocate. I think.
Okay, so let's come back in the frame on this one. Let's have a conversation about this. So I have seen numerous other outlets reference about what's being discussed in the White House as we speak. So this all adds up. And if anything, we saw Brad Garlinghouse literally mention that on the screen, said 80%, and then he went and said 90%, like kind of one up that. Some of you guys' thoughts in regard to that.
I'll be interested in seeing, like, once it gets a little bit closer, what Parley Market says, or Kashi or something like that. It's interesting, those kind of prediction markets seem to get it right, and they have some insiders on it. Yeah, I don't see any reason why we can't have it in April. One of the things I showed my guys is that a Senate panel has already passed it, and that was pretty monumental because is the first time any Senate panel had approved anything from Clarity. So that's happened. We also know that I was saying once before we met Catherine Pham, no, Caroline Pham of former CFTC head chairwoman. She said she gave Clarity also. So I don't see any reason why they can't push it through. And from the video we played a couple days ago, you had something with Brian Armstrong of Coinbase, and I think the senator's name is Bernie Moreno. He was saying that, hey, it looks good. Armstrong was saying, hey, it looks like a win for us, a win for the banks, a win for the people. So I don't see any reason why they can't get it done by the end of April.
I guess I got to be that guy, right? I guess I got to be that guy.
Hey, be that guy, because you know what? I'm a firm believer of people should have share their own opinion, or if it's a difference of opinion, you gotta state how you feel.
Well, the thing is, my opinion is, I think it is very, very likely that we do see it in April. But like Rue said, I mean, the prediction markets are pretty accurate, right? So waiting for that to kind of play out. But I'm the kind of guy that would throw $100 against it, right? If there's an 80 or 90%, because you never know. Some Democrat or something could come in and just flush the whole thing tomorrow. The outside chance that I say it doesn't pass is just because, and guys, listen, it's not a political stance. It just is what it is. The roles could be completely reversed, and I would say the exact same thing, whether it's Democrat or Republican. I want to be clear about that first, right? But the opposing party, in this case being the Democrats, it's in their best interests for nothing positive to pass this year that are going to help markets, because midterms are coming up, right, in November. So that's the only outlier that I would kind of say that would cause them to throw a wrench in at the last minute to try to kick it to next year after midterms or something. That's the only kind of outside thing that I would say. But I'm not saying I think that's what's going to happen, but I do strongly believe in giving everybody both sides of a coin, right? And you got to be prepared for that inevitability if it does come to fruition. So
I would 100% agree with that. There is a comment I would like to highlight. Is from Ortho Gideon, where you pointed out you guys are undervalued and underestimated, like XRP, so humble and consistent. All you guys, hey man, appreciate that. Thank you so much. Oh, you're muted, Rob.
Sorry, I said yeah, absolutely. I saw one or two questions as well that I wanted to highlight. Turtle Ranch says, how much is a lot of quant? I mean, that's a matter of perspective. Some people might say 100. Some people, I would say having 1,000 quant would be a lot from a lot of perspectives. But I mean, everyone has a different budget and a different, so that's what I would say. What do you think?
Before you read that super chat real quick, we appreciate it, Candyman, by the way. We see your super chat. I want to answer that. And this applies to just about anything and everything. So be very direct when I say this. It's all dependent on your life goals. For some people, like maybe you're pushing 80 or something like that, and it's just like, well, then I need to have a ton of this or whatever. It's all dependent on how long you're looking to hold the particular asset. I cannot stress that enough. If you feel as though that there's been enough deep dive research, whether it's from me, other people, and so on, that there's enough evidence to show that this is truly the future financial plumbing, that the concept of a finternet, a financial internet, is a real deal Holyfield, right? And that these things will eventually take off. Shout to Rue and the Rue crew saying, if you're an Intel holder, my God, what's the analogy I'm trying to make? If you're an Intel holder, XRP Army or QNT Army or whoever, especially XRP Army, a lot of you guys complain like 7-8 years you've been holding this. Is it ever going to do anything? You got a taste of 365. Now we're at what, Rob, like $1.35, give or take. Is it ever going to do anything? Again, Rue, what did you point out? Intel took 15 years, my God, for that to be life-changing. But it was. I kind of look at QNT and XRP and all this stuff, it's not necessarily about how much you have, it's how long you're willing to hold the asset. I think we should look at all this as being in like, we need to be 8 to 10 year holders and so on. But I get it, guys. I totally get it. Depending on the person's age and their background, et cetera, or maybe their health concerns and so on, maybe that isn't in your own around the corner outlook. And you need this to be doing something big within the next year or two. I get that. But for a lot of other people, it's a game of patience. And that's where it's at for me. Honestly, I do hold obviously a nice amount of QNT. There's other people that hold a lot more than I do. It's not a you-know-what measuring contest, but what it is a contest is, it's a contest of life and our decisions, what we do with the assets moving forward. So,
yep. Candyman says, apparently, to start a zoo, you need at least 2 pandas, a grizzly, and 3 polars. It's a bare minimum. Oh, Candyman's always dropping the alpha on the jokes. Absolutely love it.
Well, thanks for your super chat to, I believe, Rob's community. Thank you so much. We do appreciate all you guys. And yeah, you know, in our video, I think that's coming out. Was it today where you're like, you know, 9.5 plus 4 pennies? I had that ish up.
Edward says, regarding ZBEC, is there an average amount retail investors are holding? For example, 1 million, 2 million. Just curious to know what the average investment in ZBEC. I honestly couldn't tell you. You might be able to ask Grok or something, but I don't even know if Grok could tell you.
How about this? Why don't we just ask Rue? No pressure.
Yeah, Rue's on the spot.
You're muted.
I have no idea. I think Rob's suggestion is a good one there. Ask Grok if Grok has an idea. I'm sure it can give you some estimate, maybe, or based off of wallets and things like that. But yeah, I have no idea there.
Yeah, 100%. I'm just looking to see if there's any more questions. Elon Muff in the house. My dude, what's up, buddy?
I'm gonna tell on him. I'm going to tell on you, Mr. Muff, Mr. Elon Muff, Mike C. Glad to have you here. Guys, listen, when you see this guy come in, if you're a big fan of some of my research and, you know, other people like that do the ISO coverage, you need to give this guy his flowers on this. I'm telling you flat out, he is literally the godfather of Maximus Crypto. You may think, well, how's that possible? Because if it wasn't for him, I never would have found things like Quant. And the reason why I want to give him his due flowers or respect and so on, come on, you guys. We all have examples. There's somebody in our life that told us about what we are enthusiastic about. So when I see Mike in the chat, I'm always going to be like, yeah, man, thank you so much. Because honestly, I mean, I was covering some utility, you know, like shout out to Clearpool and stuff like that. I was aware of XRP, but this guy really opened my eyes, which is another video we'll play later on. Opened my eyes to some things, or when it comes to, you know, ISO 222, but more in particular Quant. When he first mentioned, like, Max, you know, Quant is literally like a blockchain operating system. It's like Microsoft for the 21st century, or Web3. We're not really in Web3. How about that? Could we talk about that real quick? Do you guys feel as though we're in Web3? In my opinion, we're not in Web3. We're in like Web 2.6, 2.7. But once we're finally in Web3, it'll be too late, in my opinion. Like, that ship will have sailed, you know?
Empathy phase.
Yeah.
Yeah. Mojo says, you gentlemen rock, much appreciated. And Brock, of course, thank you so much, brother. He says, to be honest, when you three get together, it's hard to ignore and deny the wisdom and intuition.
Thanks. Appreciate that. Guys, we will tell you, you know, check out the videos that we dropped. What was it, Rue, about a week or two ago? The Zebek Master Mind Map series of connections. 6 parts. We go really, really deep on that. If Zebek is your thing, that appeared on both of our channels, and it literally gives you everything step by step, like an outline, like this is connected to this ecosystem, you name it. I think we recently talked again about Robert Mitchnick. I believe that video is going to come out tomorrow. Uniswap, the big announcement in regard to BlackRock. And again, what's the correlation here? They specifically highlighted in the article BlackRock's head of digital assets, Robert Mitchnick, aka Robbie Mitchnick. Why is that important if you're a Zebek holder? Because both him and Simon Babakani of Zebek went to where? Queens. I want to say Queensbridge.
University.
I'm gonna say Queensbridge. You know, shout out to Nas and all them, but it's not Queensbridge. But it's like Queensland University, something like that. Queens something University.
It's the Queen's University.
Exactly. So again, it's like you made an analogy. I reviewed the video. We're gonna read this super chat real quick. I just want to say this. We reviewed the video, and in the video, you said specifically it was almost as if BlackRock said, "Look, Robbie Mitchnick, we got you," and then Robbie was like, "Yeah, but there's Simon, and he's gonna be the chosen one for." Obviously like Zebek and stuff like that. And it was such a great analogy. I was like, yeah, because these guys more than rubbed elbows together. Like they're friends. They went to school together. And then when we see XRP Las Vegas, which is coming up, which we pointed out, it's like, who is there? And it shows the showcase, like Ripple, Brad Garlinghouse, all that. I just think that it's just countless examples. We talked about Quant earlier. Like, you guys find it odd that there's these examples, basically speaking, of all these people or all these integrations that happen to have Zebek correlation. Is that just a giant coincidence? And then again, Cybos, remember that? Cybos, right? When they met with Fireblocks, and then who holds the master key basically for Fireblocks? Quant. I mean, it's just an ADB. Anyway, by all means, read this. Thank you so much, Turtle Ranch, for the $10 super chat. Actually, that's from my side. I should read this. My bad. Thank you, my friend. Turtle Ranch, $10 super chat. What would be a good ratio for XRP, XLM, HBAR, QNT, and Zebek for a 15-year outlook? My God, how much percentage of each? That is a very, very good question. I have actually shared on my Patreon a while back. I want to say maybe about a month or so, give or take, of my particular allocation. I'm actually going to double check my allocation, so maybe this will help you. It's somewhat of a freebie. I mean, we usually talk about some of the stuff on the Patreon, but I can make it real quick. So basically speaking, if I was to look at my allocation, I currently have, and keep in mind, I'm into roughly 50 different projects, okay? So my current allocation is sitting at XRP is 17.30% of my portfolio, and Quant is 16.33%. I have some other ones, like Zebek, for example, is about 8% of my portfolio. And then Jasmine is like real close after that. But again, sometimes it's just dependent. Like if we see a flash crash, which we have seen lately, again, it's some of this stuff like basically Quant, right? You have that on your list, Turtle Ranch. Quant crashes to $50. You think I'm not going to back up the truck on that? So what's going to happen? That makes the allocation even that much higher. Does that mean that I have Quant over XRP? No. If you guys have been following my content closely, which I'm sure you have, Turtle Ranch, I've been very consistent that QNT and XRP are tied for my number ones. So if hopefully that helps you. Anyway, thank you for that super chat. And then we also have Elon Muff. Thank you so much for the $5 super chat. We're on Maximus Crypto. Let's read that. Thank you for being Johnny on the spot with that, Rob, by the way. Percentage ownership of QNT, says Mike. One QNT in Quant project, you need roughly 6,700 to 6,800 XRP projects since, let's read that, 369. So that's 100 billion divided by 14,880,000, which I know where you're going with that. That's because that's the supply of QNT, equals 6,720. Thanks, man. I mean, you're the one who dropped the super chat to help another person with that. We appreciate you guys with that. And that's what we love about Mike. Mike, listen, call to action. We're going to read the other super chat here in a bit. Thank you so much for that $5 super chat. But what we want to point out, guys, is we got to get Mike C on one of our shows. Either one.
I love that. Oh, my God. That would be crazy.
Listen, bro, Rue can attest to this. This gentleman could go on a rant like nobody's business. He will put stuff into, you think I might put stuff into perspective. Shout to Jesse of Apex Crypto Insights. You may think Jesse could put into perspective. I mean, he's rubbing elbows with Verson and all those guys. I mean, shout to him. That's great, right? Paul Barron, all of them. If you are to listen to Mike C, I will just call this. If somebody clip that up and shared it with some of those other programs, he would be on some of the biggest platforms out there. That guy can absolutely. I don't even say anything. I just sit back. I'm a student all over again. I used to teach. We're all learning, right? I'm just gonna sit back in the cut and just let him. There's alpha, and then there's his alpha. I'm serious. I just hope to God he'll say something about it. But thank you. You guys are blessing us. Thank you so much. We have, I guess, another super chat. I don't even know what side that came from, but go ahead.
Big Mike. I don't think he's just sending it on my channel. It might be Ruse.
You want to check real quick, bro?
Thank you, Big Mike 59. I can't tell what is coming from. I'm getting notifications for all of them. So
Big Mike's always
Dream, Dream Team, quick question. No crystal ball, but do you think Zabak could hit 2 cents due to all the current partnerships before we head down to 50K?
It depends on Bitcoin for me, but you go ahead, man.
I'm gonna say probably not. If we head down, I'm thinking that we might head down March 2nd and 3rd because of the blood moon and the eclipse, the whole blood moon thing, red. If we can make it past that, like 3 days before it, 3 days after it, if we can make it past that, then maybe, just maybe, we can head back up. And should we head back up, then yes, but I don't think it's gonna go the other way where like Zabak hits 2 cents before we go down to 50K. No, I don't think that's possible.
Well, here's what I'm seeing on the Bitcoin chart right now, really briefly for you, Mike. Now, do I think we're going to come back down and hit a double bottom here potentially at about 62,840? Yeah, probably. But if we lose that level, this is a bear pennant we have going on right now. So for me, the breakdown of the bear pennant, now it's not going to be in one candle, but you're looking at somewhere between $48,000 and $50,000 on the breakdown from this bear pennant here. So that's, again, it's probably going to take 2 or 3 weeks to play out and get down there, but you're going to have a pretty big leg down, I think, very soon. Another level of consolidation. Maybe we form another bear flag or bear pennant, and then we go for that next leg down. Like I said, could take 2 or 3 weeks to happen. So, but it's seeming less and less likely that we're going to, break down from the downside of this bear pennant, catch support at 62.8, and then bounce back up to major resistance at 70,620 and up to 77 or 80,000. We don't even have the volume for that right now, to be honest with you, but I don't know. That's kind of how I see it.
Yeah, thanks for sharing that. Appreciate it.
No problemo. Let me just see if there's any more. I don't know if you guys want to dive in. I just want to make sure there's no more major questions. Oh, we got Candyman dropping some more cheddar. He said, just returned from a wedding reception, and the DJ said, all married people stand next to the person who made your life worth living. The bartender was almost crushed.
Oh, man.
Oh, we love you, Candyman. Well played, sir. Well played. I think we got another one here. Chris, no question, fellas. Just a heartfelt thank you for all your time. We love you, Chris. Absolutely. Give your dog a nice little scratch on the belly. We love dogs here too, man. So, absolutely. Thank you so much, guys. Thank you for the support for the channels. Do you guys want to get into more questions, or do you want to get into some of your stuff here, Max?
Yeah. Let's just double check the chat real quick, because we do want to, say thanks. I mean, it's been, even for myself, it's been a while since I've done a live stream.
Mm-hmm. I'm just flashing some stuff that deserves.
Yeah. Did we read that before?
Nope.
No. Well, we could read that one. You guys are providing a huge service for the retail community. People perish for lack of knowledge, but you guys are dropping some serious knowledge. Much love. Thank you so much. There's a reason why we came together when it comes to this. Like, I remember, I think even with Rue, our first stream together, we covered things like Temenos and the FedNow connections and you name it. And we decided to get real deep into it. And it's like, why do we do that? It's just like, people who do this type of research naturally want to collaborate with other people that do those type of things. Um, you know, you guys saw like on X, I'm at DPG Maximus. The DPG comes from my gaming group, you know, Dog Pound Gaming. I used to be a community leader way back then, right? 2002. So coming up on, geez, how many years is that DPG? Like 20, 24, 25 years, give or take. But anyway, my point is, Rob is a great community leader, right? Like he's killing it. Rue is a great community leader and so on. So we all have our, you know, strengths and weaknesses, you name it. But um, as Rob would point out, you've been saying this a lot lately, Rob. We are birds of the feather who flock together, and we like to see and love to see that the communities are all coming together right now and showing your support. So while we might not be able to read all of you guys' comments and so on, we'll do our best to recognize it and so on. And just can't thank you guys enough for being here. It does mean a lot, and we will get into some more of your questions and comments and concerns if we have the time to do so. But what we want to do is obviously recognize the what's going on in the news, right? So just kind of double checking some things. Did you read the run from Chris Culp?
Yep.
Where it says no question. Okay. What happened to Jasmine? We're gonna get into some of that. I don't know. I mean, maybe you're laughing at Jasmine. That's okay. I mean, we respect all different points of views.
Heavy is the crown, brother.
Yeah. Anyway, so yeah, I guess what we'll do is just jump into a little bit more what we have. I like this one that's coming up. So what exactly is it? So let's share a little bit more of what we have. So we shared the whole thing about Brad Garlinghouse. So let's now jump over to Smoke for a second. And we'll make this just brief. Again, we want to respect the balance of how this all works. Smoke pointed out literally earlier today, kind of retweeted this, okay? And the reason why he retweeted this, I know exactly why he retweeted this. He retweeted this in light of what you just saw from Brad Garlinghouse. So listen and learn. Hopefully you guys appreciate this. Smoke, who makes things so easy. I gotta give him a shout out to his X for you guys follow him on X. He's already got a big following. But anyway, we follow at SMQKEDQG. He says Ripple/XRPL can seamlessly integrate with Swift through standardized and secure internet protocols. It's one thing to see that statement, and it's another thing to see it documented. Him and I are very focused on providing you guys real documents. There's nothing wrong with sharing articles, but I love the documents. Okay, so let's pull this up and let's blow this up just a little bit more. So originally he pulled this from LinkedIn. Again, I feel as though LinkedIn is kind of like the institutional X. And in the highlight, you see here, it says browsing. Users can browse securely on financial websites available on SwiftNet using standard internet technologies and protocols such as HTTPS and HTML. All right, well, where are we going with that? Well, it's the next part of this. If you were to look into this, you will see that Ripple uses a standard framework and a set of rules known as the Ripple Transactional Protocol for network participants, reducing potential bottlenecks during transactions. Applications can connect to the XRP ledger through HTTP or WebSocket APIs. Again, this is what I love about what Smoke does. It's awesome to see that. And just in case people are like, well, geez, only 1,500 TPS. We know that they have unbounded scale. We've seen some documentation about that. We've shared that. I've shared this probably in 3 or 4 videos about the M10. And it's not just a million TPS. I mean, shout out to you guys that like into BSV and so on. I still believe in BSV. There's also the ability to do billions and trillions of TPS, which sounds insane, and that is definitely worth pointing out. The last part, let's blow this up as well. This is good. I shouldn't say this last part. This is second to last part. I want to give a shout out to Professor Ripple Effect. I wanted to play his video he had in his clipping, but it did have a song that was copyrighted, so I didn't want to share that on the live stream. But again, we see here SwiftNet using standard internet technologies and protocols such as HTTPS and HTML. And this other part, sorry, I meant to share this one. This is from gatehub.net. And it says specifically what? Points out how XRPL Labs and GateHub join forces, adding on and off ramp for 14 assets. GateHub with Zoom, or Zoom, some people call it Zoom. And again, this is interesting too, is it not? You see 2 of the most active companies on the XRP ledger have teamed up to bring more assets to the XRPL, enabling seamless value transfer between the XRPL and other supported networks such as SEPA, SWIFT, Bitcoin, and Ethereum. Now, that part where it says SEPA, SWIFT, and all that, it's important to recognize why that's such a big deal. And if anything, I'll share a little bit later if we have time how that works. If you see some of my deep dives, you already know, but we even know about like SEPA and Quant. All these things are very, very valid and worth pointing out. Actually, here's the final connector that we want to pull up just real briefly. I do want to share this, and I'll shrink it down so it's not so blurry. Smoke highlighted with the cell phone. TCP IP only connects networks on a date level. You see here, for example, from Bitcoin to Ethereum or even Swift payments network to, say, Ripple's XRP network. That's important. And this bottom part from Chapter 5 of Blockchain and the Digital Economy, if you want to check out the whole PDF, you see here, this is the essence behind the ILP. Again, the Interledger Protocol. I won't mention this person by name because I don't want to create drama, but I do refer to her as the the crypto police. So if the crypto police wants to go on national TV and all these other places and still tell you that Ripple has no connection to the ILP, which she claims, just look at the documents. That's all you got to do. So this is the essence behind the ILP. It is the same conceptual idea as two-way pegs, like sidechains and state channels. For example, what Michael Saylor loves so much, Lightning, etc., etc. So again, just go to the documentation. I'll give a shout out because I see Cool Cat Cryptos in the space. So shout out to you, Cool Cat. We see here besides ILP, there is Cosmos. So they get their honorable mention on that one. And we have more, but for now, we'll come back, have our panel discuss it. Guys, come on, man. We see in documents all this stuff, you know? We should recognize that. And we should also recognize that people are missing Will Fix. Thank you so much. I do appreciate that. Even though you have a very interesting name, Jeffrey Dahmers, Ford, F and Ranger, Will is literally probably chuckling from above. Thank you so much for recognizing my brother in Christ, who's definitely with the Lord. Will Fix. Thanks, man.
Yeah, absolutely. Best crypto channel on YouTube by far. Rue, did you have a follow up on what Max just dropped on us while I go through the channel?
No, look, we just know that that's superior technology. It's more than like TCP/IP, but you can kind of think of it as a standard protocol. But you got all the APIs that are coming through the Overledger protocol, so it's literally anything with APIs. So it's like it's very, very superior than what just a regular TCP/IP would do.
Yep.
Absolutely. If you don't mind, Rob, I don't know if you saw it, but it's Crypto David. We do appreciate people hopping on over here from the X side of things because, you know, we're obviously broadcasting there. So thank you so much for taking the time and liberty. He says, in Jasmine, we trust time is money. We'll definitely get into some Jasmine coverage here in a bit. So thank you so much for stopping by. We really appreciate you.
Mm-hmm. Absolutely. David, always watching over on X, man. All the value of the world's assets will be on the XRP ledger. It's documented. There you go, man. There you go. Proof is in the pudding. Exactly.
Yes, sir. Well, now what I would like to share with you guys is the David Sachs interview. So again, where did all these things come from? Numerous news outlets. Let's go ahead and share this, and then we'll get some commentary from our panel, and even you guys. I think you guys are going to like what you see. We're going to pull this up. Big shout out to Smoke. Why do I always cite Smoke? He makes life so easy. Real documents, the clippings, you know what really matters, okay? You can get fluff anywhere, right? That's my thing. I want to get the real deal stuff. So 90% chance Rue is Ric Flair for Halloween. That's good stuff. What is that, some eggs? Eggs look good. All right.
All right, brother. Take it away, man.
No problem. I actually do want to read that real quick. Francisco's part of my community. Onera is the hidden builder, the digital asset super ads. I like that. I know that I did that. We all three did that video early highlighting super apps. But yeah, we could have probably gave that the honorable mention as well. So thank you for that, Francisco. All right. Let's full screen this one, Rob. Let's get into this. Smoke points out, remember, quote, After the market structure bill passes, banks are going to fully get into crypto. Think about terminology here, everybody. I want you guys to just think about this for a brief moment. We highlighted for years ISO 222, the concept of enriched data, going from MT messages to MX, okay? So again, we're now on MX, which is by definition ISO 222. That's 10,000 characters, okay, compared to the old model, which I don't even know if it was 30 or 50 or whatever it is. Let's get the benefit out. Let's say it's 100 characters. Again, enriched data. So when you see this terminology that after the market structure bill passes, banks are going to fully get into crypto. When this stuff starts doing its thing, you will finally see why people like us have put so much emphasis on ISO 222 and the assets that are tied to that standard. Global standards matter just as much as you plugging in your plug to the socket. That's a standard in itself. Why should it be any bit different when it comes to financial the finance industry and so on? So this is 39 seconds. We'll come back for some commentary. Here we go.
A good compromise is everyone leaves a little bit unhappy, right? But I think what's going to happen is that after market structure passes, the banks are going to get fully into the crypto industry. So we're not going to have a separate banking industry and crypto industry. It's going to be one digital assets industry. And I think
And will they be regulated the
their
same
opinions
way?
are going to evolve over time. And I bet you over time, the banks like the idea of paying yield because they're going to be in the stablecoin business.
But will they also be regulated the same way? And I guess that's a big, I mean, the banks will say, hey, if they get to do all the same things we do, how come they don't get regulated the same way?
Well, I guess because they're offering slightly different products, right?
Yeah.
So, but I mean, everyone offering the same product should be regulated in the same way, and we want to get to that harmonization. A good comp.
All right, let's come back in the frame on this one. I want to talk about this real quick. So, number one, you heard David Sachs specifically mention it won't be two separate like entities. He didn't exactly say that, but that's basically what it is. So back to what our video was earlier. Guys, check out our video that we did. We put a lot of emphasis on this whole thing of like stable coins. Is it really a threat to the, the banks and so on? Rob, you shared your perspective on that. By all means, share that again. But the point I'm trying to make is back to the David Sachs. If it's not going to be two separate entities moving forward, then guess what? All the emphasis we put, Rue, myself, whoever, about real standards through ISO, that's going to hold a lot of weight moving forward because now you have a fusion, right? Like my video came out with earlier today on HBAR, a fusion of where this is staying together in a unified world. It's not going to be, as the saying goes, siloed off. You're not going to have walled gardens of the traditional financial sectors because that's just going backwards. If we're going from the times of MT messaging with Swift since the 70s and all of a sudden in 2025 you had that mandate, and then moving forward it's because we're going into an interconnected world with Web3 and blockchain and DLT and all this, then the banks, as pointed out, can't have their own separate thing. No, all evidence, all documents point towards a unified ledger. Now, it doesn't mean that one is just going to be one, right? We talked about that. It's like Canton's going to have a rule. Ripple's going to have a role. Stellar's going to have a role. If anything, they all complement each other in their own way. Isn't that the whole point? If we're going to talk about internet protocols moving from basically the Internet of Information, which was the 90s, early 2000s, even up to now, like with your Googles and so on, we are enabling an internet for the first, or excuse me, a finternet, financial internet, first time in history where you actually see a tokenized internet. Nobody knows the true value of the internet. We get glimpses of this. I know I keep going on about it, but I cannot stress enough the shift that's happening before our eyes. Is that April? I don't know. I don't have the answers, but I could put two and two together. I think they're giving us some clues. I actually want to start off with you, Rob, on this because you touched basis on this literally in our video. I think that came out earlier today or yesterday. Actually, it was yesterday evening.
Yeah, well, I mean, I'll give you a different analogy for people. To quote Rue firstly, it's going to be a multi, chain future at the end of the day, guys, right? And to kind of make it easier for people, think about it like this. McDonald's exists, they make burgers, right? Well, they don't just need burgers. They need Subway because they need subs. Mr. Sub, they need some pizza, right? You got your H bars, your Quants, your XRPs, right? Your ZBEX, and so on and so forth. So they need more than just, you need more than just burgers at a barbecue, right? You need steak. So it's a multi-chain, just to make it an easy analogy, it's a multi-chain future. It doesn't make sense to say only one can survive, only one can be used. It's completely inaccurate to me for that. So yeah.
Brew? You're muted, my friend.
I just wanted to share something with you guys if you can bring it up really quickly. So David Sachs, by the way, who was speaking, he's invested in Zebek as well right here. Shout out to Creative Control for this for a while back. Now, if you ask AI about this, they say there's no connection, but I actually have a short. If you guys want to go look at my shorts, pause, look at my shorts on YouTube. And
no, you just said go look at your shorts.
I got the dang on pause in, bro. I got the pause in, bro. But yeah, if you go look at my shorts on YouTube, it shows that at one point in time, AI did acknowledge Craft Ventures, co-founded by David Sachs, was an investor in Zebek's $8.5 million seed funding round in 2022, supporting the blockchain-based payment platform's development. And he's standing right there next to Donald Trump, which we know World Liberty Financial, partially owned by Donald Trump, is teamed with Zebek with its USD1. Okay, so that's the coin that we're invested in, and we're going to hear a little bit from him here. But let's finish this out. Make no mistake, after the stablecoin payments overhaul is solidified, the next step is United States payroll. Okay, Sam Tapalia and Simon Babakani have a serious plan for the future of Zebek. Update archaic payment rails with a revolutionary new payment system.
It will update archaic payment rails with a revolutionary new payment system, and it will extend U.S. dollar dominance, like you said, globally by creating a digital dollar. It will update archaic payment rails with a revolutionary.
Extending the U.S. dominance by creating this digital dollar is a very highly underrated comment as well. But here, guys, one of the things he said is that banks, in the clip that Max showed, that banks are going to just float into crypto after this market infrastructure bill has passed. One of the things I can give you to back that up, right? This is from Anthony here over at well, there's a couple different people saying it, but this is actually from the past here. You got a few different people all the way down to Levi Crypto Crusaders, but trust me, this is a real thing where Morgan Stanley pushes crypto to retail. Morgan Stanley is making crypto a core wealth business. Spot Bitcoin, Ethereum, and Solana is trading on and launching on E-Trade via Zero Hash. Okay, and we know Zero Hash is partnered with Zebek, also a part of Securitize. So if Morgan Stanley is starting to make this as a part of E-Trade, how long until they actually start saying that crypto needs to be a part of your portfolio, right? So, hey, this is around the corner, like it or not. People might be at the lowest point of like fear where they're like booing Coinbase on Super Bowl commercials. But meanwhile, companies like Morgan Stanley are setting things up for the very near future.
I'm really glad you could.
I was just going to say, do you think they were booing that ad because of crypto, or do you think they were specifically booing Coinbase? That's the interesting question there.
I think that the I don't know how to say this any way other than how I'm going to say it. I think the propaganda machine has successfully melded Epstein,
Yes.
or Jeffrey E.
Hmm.
and what he did onto crypto.
Yep.
So most people know crypto is related to Coinbase, and there we go. Middle
Yeah,
finger to that.
I agree with you 100% on that. You and I have talked about that a couple of times, is that it's not a coincidence that they're trying to drive prices in crypto down right now to accumulate. So they go ahead and they relate crypto to Jeffrey E. to the average investor that's not even in crypto yet. And it definitely solidifies the fact that they're like, well, if that's what crypto is associated with, I'm not touching it, right? Like, it's not a coincidence. And then watch, when they're ready to promote crypto, to pump their bags and stuff like that, all of a sudden, oh, it turns out, no, he had nothing to do with it down the road, right?
Yep.
Bye, right? I agree with you 100%.
You know, I forgot the name of the White House press secretary because there's been a few, and I've read so much stuff lately that my mind sometimes gets exhausted, right? But anyway, the White House press secretary, she will always do this. Like, somebody will come out with something, right? Like a certain narrative, and then she'll be like the opposite narrative, right? Like in a good way, right? So my thing is this: if we're going to point out this this news coverage of, like, here's what's going on in crypto and so on, well, at the same time, you need somebody like that in crypto to point out, well, okay, you guys are all anti-crypto. Okay, well, how's that cash working out for you? Because last I saw, you need to pay your bills. And we always say this, right? You need to pay your bills. Again, you can't just walk around in your house for the rest of your life naked. Eventually, somebody's going to turn off the lights, right? Everything's tied into something. Nikes, Adidas, you name it. The Nestle Quick, you name it. It's got a bunch of bad juju and so on. So there's that. And then the other thing is, shout out to Grant Cardone. All right, he's always pointing out, how's that buying power of the U.S. dollar working out for you, right? Does it still have the same buying power as it did for your grandparents and so on? The answer is no, because if it did have that same buying power, we would not have the crisis that we have right now, where people can't go out and even buy a home, right? So nobody wants to talk about that because, again, they get flashed in front of their face, literally, like a Super Bowl or something like that, right, Rue? That's what they see. And then as a result, because that is the only thing in front of them, they can't get past what's in front of them. So they think, well, oh yeah, that, the media is saying this and so on. Well, then I guess crypto is so bad and so on. But in reality, geez, the whole cash system is just, I'm done. Anyway, you get the point.
Yeah, I agree. I'm just looking to see if there's any more questions here. Tether will implode too. I don't know. They've got their new stable coin that apparently the U.S. is going to allow them to use here in the States. I don't know. I think they're fairly safe. I don't think Tether's going to implode. That's just a fear that's lingered over the crypto space for since their existence, really.
Right.
But
I saw the comments from go ahead.
I was just going to say, I think that Circle is the adopted stablecoin of the United States right now, and is the safer play for long-term holding. But I don't think Tether's going anywhere.
Yeah, and you know what? Hey, guys, we just talked about that not that long ago. USAT, remember? And remember we covered Swift Coin and it was kind of like a Swift Coin Zebek video. Guys, if you're just tuning in and you're hearing the whole part of us talk about Tether, you need to investigate more of a USAT, because believe it or not, that is Tether, but not like, Tether, traditional Tether. It's another form of Tether, and basically it's regulatory compliant. Nobody's really talking about that, but it's interesting that SwiftCoin talked about that. That's always interesting, because why the heck would they want to highlight that? It makes you wonder about the shift. Yes, right now we see the narrative of China has banned all this stuff. Yeah, they banned it all until they don't, and again, what do we have going on in the world? All these trade wars and so on. Will they eventually budge? We'll have to wait and see,
Yep, 100%.
Oh, thanks to you for that Crypto Crossroads show. Big shout out to you too. Yeah, again, sometimes you just need somebody to explain it, and that's the whole problem. Even with educational system. I've seen it when I used to teach, and I was just like, I have students in my classroom, and they'd be like, "Mr. Stanley, why you talk about crypto and all this stuff? You know, like my parents told me it's so bad." I was just like, "How about this? I'll just do this spontaneous. I'm gonna have a crypto school after school," and I did. I had a school for 2 months. It was so cool. I did after school, and we did it for about roughly an hour until, of course, basketball season started. Um, and again, on the old channel, you guys even saw some of those guys come to comments. I think Mike C. Elon Musk remembers that, but a few of my students used to come and in the comments and so on. But the only thing is, some of those students don't know about this new channel, but it's all good. But yeah, they used to come into the comments and try to learn. And it was cool, man. They got interested in some of this stuff. I wonder if they got bought some, or who knows, you know. But that narrative, anyway.
I had the classic conversation the other day with someone, I can't remember who, but they made the classic comment that crypto wasn't backed by anything, and I just looked back and said, "What's cash backed by?" And they just looked at me, right?
Yeah.
Nice
It's like
job.
like a deer in the headlight, like you know.
Promises.
Actually, what reminds me, you guys ever seen that commercial with Jack Nicholson as Jack from Jack in the Box? You ever seen that? Yeah. So it's that darn dog. The dog. Hey, Michael Gulpy, good to see you, brother. It's the dog. He's just sitting there all with a blank stare. He's just like, nature did. And then, you know, Jack Nicholson's like, yeah, that's right, nature did. Who put the straw in strawberry? Oh, nature did. Yeah. Instead of saying nature, cash did. Oh, how am I gonna pay my bills? Maybe in the future with things like crypto. Nature did.
You know what's funny? As you just kind of reminded me of something. I was watching. I think it was Bleaves this morning. It was in my feed, so it was kind of on in the background. And he said Zebek without saying Zebek. It was funny. He was talking about how you're going to be able to get paid through stable coins. He was going through talking about stable coins, how you're going to get paid through stable coins, like by the day, possibly by the hour. And I'm just in there going, just say Zebek, right?
You're like, just say it, you know?
He didn't say it, but, you know, he's just, I don't know if he knows much about Zebek, but I'm like, he's literally talking about Zebek without talking about Zebek, right?
But that's the beautiful thing, right? Eventually, everybody will know these names.
Yeah.
But they don't know it now. But you got to know it now, because now is the time, right? Again, like back to the whole Sylvester Stallone Rocky. Was it Rocky 3? He says to Apollo Creed, you know, he says, we'll get back to this tomorrow. There is no tomorrow. There is no tomorrow. Like, you know, if you see these at rock bottom rates, take advantage of that. Not financial advice, but, you know, get yourself a portfolio, like we pointed out. Get yourself a watch list. Pay attention to the bottom of the bottoms and the highs of the highs. Don't be that guy that comes in at the top of the mountain.
Yeah, and don't be that guy sitting on the sidelines going, I'm not buying that at those. I'm not buying those. The crypto's dead. And then, you know, a year from now, don't go, oh, I wish I bought it. I wish I could get those. But do you think it's going to go back to those prices again?
Can we answer that question real quick?
Yeah, my thoughts on Chainlink. Personally, not financial advice. I think Chainlink is a staple in any true portfolio for a cycle. I mean, let's be honest, there would be probably no crypto space at all if it wasn't for Chainlink. They are the glue that holds us together. They do have projects that are starting to try to catch up, but they have a very, very big head start on stuff like Pith, for example, and Gore on Algorand, I think, another Oracle. Tiny cap, but it's there. It exists.
Yeah, I just want to throw this in, and definitely want to get some 2 cents from Rue on this. So I wish I had this primed and ready for you guys. You would love it. But on Maximus Crypto, in one of the deep dives I did was, it was right, I think, at the midpoint, maybe the 6-month mark of you know, basically being into Trump's presidency, 2025. So you saw in the video, at least, it was kind of like a behind the scenes White House table, like maybe not necessary for dinner. It's not even necessary for press briefing. But at the very, very far left side, it even zoomed in. It showed Brad Garlinghouse of Ripple, and then right next to him, like in the corner area, you had Sergey Nazarov from Chainlink. there was nobody else from any other crypto project. Like, for example, nothing against Cardano, I hold that. Charles Hoskinson wasn't there. You didn't have Dr. Lehman Barrett from Hedera. You didn't have any of that. It was just Nazarov and basically Brad Garlinghouse. Now, think about that. I love, of course, Quant. I'm not going to basically bash Chainlink. And that's something I want to establish real quick is I think it's very unwise that we get too attached to, excuse my cough. I know it's a Crypto Hulk moment. Shout out to Crypto Hulk. But basically, I know that we can get so like into some of this stuff where it's like, you know, like myself, it's like, yeah, XRP Army or QNT, you know, they call it like being quamfy. I don't know if you guys know that they call that, that's a thing with quant community, they call it quamfy. My main point is this, back to what you said, Rob, numerous times. If it's going to make me some money, I'm going to be all over that. It could be memes. It could be utility, you name it. If it's going to make me some money, why did I get into crypto to begin with? Because I have a dream someday that I'm going to need a lot of capital to make a AAA game. And I'm not going to be able to do it as a school teacher on school teacher wages, hence why I don't teach anymore. But my main thing is I want people to understand that Chainlink and Quant especially, those communities always have beef with each other. And while I don't go out of my way to necessarily cover Chainlink on my channel, I do recognize Chainlink. I think it's solid. So my main key thing is I will cover, obviously, whatever I want to cover, but I've also had projects, you know, I'd say even like BSV. I love BSV. I think it has a great use case. But you know how many times I've had the community come after me saying, you don't talk about BSV anymore, and it's the only coin out there. May very well be. And I hope it does its thing and so on. Not bashing BSV, no way. But my main thing is recognizing that I don't want to be loyal to one community base. This is not a fraternity. You know, shout out to you guys that are part of fraternities. You know, I'm still technically part of one, right? Alpha, Beta, Kappa, you know, Phoenix chapter, right? Raw. Anyway, sorry. But my main thing is just recognizing that you want to be just that, an investor. I mean, do you not? But for some people, they don't. And I have recognized that. Like, there is some communities where it's just like, it's our coin or, you know, ride or die. Why? Why can't you recognize that you want to see the success of other particular rival fraternities or coins or clubs and so on? If we're all about an interconnected world for Web3 moving forward, then isn't that silly? That's just my own opinion. Do you guys feel the same way?
Oh, I joined crypto so that I could buy one project and argue with everybody on the internet about how my one project is the only one that's going to survive and everything else is going to zero. Isn't that why we all join crypto?
Exactly. It's just, ugh.
That's definitely why I joined crypto. 100%.
Yeah, 100%. That in itself is a use case for my crypto. It allows me to argue with other people. Great point, Maximus. There you go.
Oh,
absolutely.
Thank you, Cloud.
Only one will. That's like saying only one restaurant chain would survive. That's basically the same thing that you're saying. Subway's going to go, Mr. Sub, Pizza Hut, Kentucky Fried Chicken. They're all going to go under because McDonald's makes the best hamburger. That's basically what you're saying when you say only one blockchain will survive.
I get the point of view. I mean, you know, go ahead.
Like I'm from Detroit, right? There are multiple families that are really huge in Detroit, and neither one is going to knock either family out. Like, you know, the Illich family, the Ford family, the Carmanos family, and the Dan Gilbert family, right?
Soprano family.
What's that?
It's a Soprano family too.
So, like, when you think about crypto and XRP and Quant and XLM and all of these ISO coins and the things that they've done, Algorand, like, no one's going to dethrone these people at the things that they've done. Canton, you know, in conjunction with everything, like, there are way too many powerful people, way too many people invested in multiple things and multiple use cases for just one coin to make it out here. It doesn't make any sense. It would be like like you're saying there, Rob, like, okay, yeah, just only McDonald's is the only restaurant that you can
Yeah.
go to.
Well, then
Like,
this is where I wanted to interject real quick, if that's okay.
yeah.
So I know we were talking about like fast food, right? Let's actually talk about technology. And here's my example. Hold on. Don't want to have another Crypto Hulk moment. Shout out to Crypto Hulk. All right. Yeah, so hit the mute button. Anyway, Crypto Hulk's a great researcher, but you know, I gotta clear my throat. Let me clear my throat. All right, stop. All right, yeah, we did that. So my point I'm trying to make is this. I love your analogy, Rob, you know, about the whole fast food thing. That's great. What did I mention my end game is? 2 or 3 games, right? So shout out to all you guys that are gamers. You guys seen it for yourself. Did Sony PlayStation, was it the only one to rule them all? Then you had a disruptor. What was it? Xbox came out, right? Go back even further. If we're gonna call it like Atari, 70s, right? Was the Atari the only one to rule them all? The analogies I'm basically making is you could apply these same analogies to blockchain and DLT. It's kind of like, I look at Atari kind of like Bitcoin. You know, it's a fair analogy. It's like, is Bitcoin going to be honestly used for real-time gross settlements, for instant finality and all that? No, it's not. People can say, well, there's Lightning Network. Okay, I'm not going to get in a deep dive about that. The first NES, right? And then you have Sega Genesis and all that. Again, was Sega Genesis the only one to rule them all? I kind of look at Sega Genesis kind of like what we look at XRP and XLM to a sense at that time. For, you know, especially when we went from 8-bit to 16-bit. Wow, was that a huge improvement? Think about what I'm saying here. Huge improvements. What are we looking to do when it comes to the financial rails moving forward? Having what? Huge improvements when it comes to real-time gross settlements, but it doesn't just end there. Every time, you know, I see certain people in the chat, not you guys, but I'm just saying, like, we see people, they'll say, it's only about the ones that will capture the value, and it's only about the ones that are going to do payments and so on. But then you look into something like a quant and you realize, geez, you know, in reality, they will capture value. How can they do that? Well, last I saw, they do a lot of integration with Stripe. Back to you, Rue. Earlier you said the whole thing of Morgan Stanley. Remember in our deep dives, we discovered some things. Morgan Stanley with who? E-Trade, right? Go look it up. Overledger integrations and stuff like that. So even payroll, we got this new analogy. It says ADP, or excuse me, Zebek. We should literally look at Zebek as on-demand payroll. I even asked Grok earlier yesterday. I said, Grok, am I wrong? I said, I want an honest opinion, no bias. Am I wrong with my analogy that I should look at Zebek as on-demand payroll, like I look at XRP as on-demand liquidity? And they're like, well, technically, blah, 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 there's this. And at the bottom it's just like, but yes, your analogy holds weight. It's valid. Of course it is. Because at the same time, if I'm going to look at Quant and realize that Quant has ADP integrations, as well as, what was the other one we saw, Rue, when it comes to payroll? Like there was Xero, XERO. Numerous examples here, ladies and gentlemen. So again, it's not about necessarily one to rule them all. I understand, for me, my perspective is XRP will be the dominant one when it comes to capturing value, and that's why I have it at number 1. We can agree to disagree on that. There's some people say no, it's going to be XLM, it's going to be this, or it could be BSV. I will state this, BSV I think has the most impressive tech stack of anything out there. It blows everything out of the water. They don't have to go to an M10, right? Like third party, it's all built in within that stack. My only issue is this: if BSV had the partners Ripple had, they would be my number 1. Flat out, period.
Right, but if you look at specific use cases, there are some cryptos where you could say for that use case, there are ones that rule them all. Like Max was saying there with Zebek for payroll. If you look at kind of onboarding credit unions to ISO 20022, Metallicus takes the cake there. If you look at things like Hedera and what they're doing with carbon credits and energy, and all the different people they have aboard there with Dovu and things like that, they have a winning use case there. Chainlink when it comes to oracles and things like that. So you can definitely see for specific use cases, there are head and shoulders above the rest. One crypto there, but
I
overall in the market, just one. No.
I agree and disagree in a different way. Another thing I would remind everybody of is that in technology, I mean, you go to the store and buy a computer, for example, a desktop computer, for example, there's a brand new version of it in the store before you even get home and get your computer set up, and your computer is now obsolete, right? We see it every cycle with layer ones as an example. Bitcoin, then Ethereum came along, and then all the other layer ones came along, your H bars, your Cardano, all claiming to be the next generation of, updated technology and stuff like that. So what I would say is that yes, there would be leaders in most narratives, but those leaders can easily be replaced by more advanced technologies, in the years to come. That's why for me personally, I'd never become a maxi on any project. I think the longest thing I held was XRP for like 8 years. But outside of that, the reason I held it so long is because it was in a court case for 5 of those 8 years, and I knew that eventually they were going to win and come out on top, and then it would eventually go up, right? But outside of that, exception to the rule, there's leaders, but that doesn't mean that those leaders are not going to have competition, right? I mean, there are certain narratives that do have leaders that have a very large first movers advantage. Ethereum for the layer ones being one of them. We all know Jay Clayton gave Ethereum rockets on their boots and sent them to the moon. I've argued many times that had that not happened, would Ethereum be the number one outside of Bitcoin, the number one layer one? I would argue no. I would argue no if they didn't get that advantage, right? But then other narratives, like you said, Rue, as Oracle's Chainlink, massive advantage, but because not many people were building in that narrative, right? But eventually they may have projects that who knows, Pith or some other project may come along and start to steal market share. And ZBEC is another one that right now, zero competition. Love ZBEC. But that doesn't mean 5, 6, 7, 8 years from now, someone else isn't going to come along and do it better and partner with different companies. You know what I'm saying? Like, and that's the other thing is the important thing to remember is that ZBEC might be a leader. I'm just using ZBEC as an example. I love ZBEC. I'm not fighting it, but they might be a leader right now in that narrative, and that doesn't mean another company can't come along doing almost the exact same thing and just onboard different companies globally. You know what I'm saying, and kind of run parallel. And I'm just saying, like, there's room in this world for more than one project to excel per narrative, I guess, is the point I'm trying to get across, right?
And I agree with that to a certain extent, but I think they've done a good job of guardrailing that, in that they have the compliances. Like, those compliances are going to do a pretty good job of keeping any competition like far away unless they can afford to get those compliances.
Oh, I agree. They have a massive head start.
Yeah. And with that too, like, you look at some of the things that they've done with World Mobile, where they have their own, like, basically phone network. So not only would you have to be compliant to get next to them, you would also have to try to now get someone to approve you your own phone network so that you could use that phone as a mobile bank. Like, so I think they're pretty far away, but again, yeah, that doesn't stop competition for trying. But I think the bar is so high, it's just like, why would you have your competition? You might as well just go do something else.
Well, you would say the same thing about VHS and then DVD and then Blu-ray and then streaming, right? One would say the same thing looking back at Blu-ray, saying, well, you can't get much better than this, right? And now people are streaming.
That's true.
So,
That's true.
Who knows, right? No one knows what the future holds.
If you don't mind, I want you to highlight a comment, Rob, and that is Elon Musk's comment where he says quant solves wrap tokens. That alone is massive. That's something I've covered, not to harp so much on quant, but you just talked about, for example, compliancy. We just talked about Chainlink. I saw another comment from Elon Musk saying basically, like, different use cases, like, you know, the Chainlink community, the quant community. It's like, come on, it's still different use cases. I mean, we're talking about oracles versus blockchain operating system, but what consistently comes up is that interoperability. There's different forms of interoperability. So again, what I want to point out to you guys is, especially if you're just tuning in now, we did talk about a lot about Zebek. We do have a little bit of Jasmine we're going to get to, and then after that, we'll, maybe we wrap it up. I don't know, but we'll have to see what with Rob's schedule and so on. But I want to highlight this so much, especially if you're brand new to the whole concept of quant. Quant, we talked about, before that, we talked about zero competition. Quant honestly has zero competition through what? Through over-ledger fusion layer 2.5. No other technology has this. And what exactly is that? What are we even talking about? What is a layer 2.5? Boom. What Elon Musk just dropped in the comments for you guys. I swear we got to get this guy on a live show sometime. If he doesn't want to show his face, he just wants to show the muff, that's fine. I just said that out loud. Anyway, sorry about that, but yes. With that said, okay, with that said, he is right. Quant solves wrapped tokens. That alone is massive. It is massive. What are wrapped tokens, just in case you're brand new to this? They're supposed to be representations, like a mirror that represents the original asset, right? So if you have, ETH as an Ethereum, we know there's wrapped ETH, right? Especially if you deal with meme coins and so on. You've seen this all over across the board on DEXs, you name it, right? That alone, I would agree, is absolutely massive. So you have this thing, it's called Quant Over Ledger Fusion Layer 2.5 Rollup. All right, why is that great? My God, myself, Rue, Rob especially, shoot, Rob went over to Japan. Nothing against Jasmine. We love Jasmine. Hara, you got the whole thing going on with Janction, which we'll get into here in a bit, because if we have an analogy about Janction with Jasmine trying to create their own version of a form of overledger, you're going to see my analogy here in a bit. I swear, stick around for that. But my point is, plug and play with the overledger. Instead of trying to build your own layer 2, you can have plug and play through Quant's overledger. And people will say, well, how so? It's literally this simple. Please listen to me when I say this. By definition, Quant Network is an blockchain operating system. Also by definition, look into the interviews many years ago when Gilbert Verdient was pitching Quant Network to a huge audience. I mean, there was a lot of people there. He talked about how originally back in 2009, he saw Bitcoin at like 0.0005. And he was like, my God. And he was trying to pitch it to, the United Kingdom and UK finance, you name it, and so on. But they weren't ready for it, okay? But when you get more into the fundamentals of Quant, literally, I think it was maybe 2015, 2016, give or take, ISO, I don't know if you guys know this, ISO, International Standards Organization, they reached out to him. It wasn't the other way around. Mark my word, look it up for yourself and see if I'm full of malarkey. I'm not, because I looked into this myself. Look into yourself. ISO reached out to him and they said, hey, you know what? Quant with Overledger, this operating system, we think we should make this a standard. Hence, ISO TC307, the Quant Network standard. What is that by definition? TC307. TC307 is the foundation for building on blockchain. So he made that standard. Then they made their own slogan with that and so on. They have other slogans like "We are the foundation for digital finance," et cetera, et cetera. We are programmable money. Some people don't want to hear that because it sounds like the end times and so on, and I get that. But again, plug and play, right? So what does that really mean? It means, and he's used examples of this. Also, Martin Hargreaves, the I always say he's a CTO, but he's technically not. But he's one of those, the technology officers over the Quant Network, have pointed out projects that would normally take 10 months to do this at scale. You can literally have this done in in months, like in a month. Now it's no longer a month. It's actually less time than that. So that for one, time is money. We know about how they're tied to ISO 222. I know I'm going on a rant here, but my point is that is a great comment. And in fact, I know because I'm friends with Mike, you may think like, oh, you're just going to highlight all this stuff. In my opinion, Mike's comment is the comment of the day. I used to post on YouTube the comment of the day. That's the comment of the day, because I would challenge each and every one of you. Go to Google, go to wherever you want to go, Grok, ChatGPT, ask the AIs or whatever you want to do. Ask it, how extremely valuable is a solution that would solve wrap tokens. And if you understand that, then it opens up a whole other rabbit hole, because Quant also has another product. It's called Quant Authorize. Why is that big? Because that's audit. Who has been specializing a lot in audit? Deloitte. Deloitte, by definition, I learned this from Smoke. Deloitte is focused on just that, audit. So you already have a blockchain operating system that does it all in one. Extremely, extremely slept on, and I think there's a private chat. You have to go. All right, no problem.
It just got quiet. Oh, it's awkward.
Yeah.
Absolutely, absolutely. Let's get into a couple more here. Fridge says, I just want to build some generational wealth. Kids, I don't care how it happens, what chain does it. You guys are giving us options to do that. Nothing guaranteed, but without y'all, we would be lost. It's funny because my father had asked me last year. He said, if you could describe what you do, you know, what I do, or what we do, if you had to sum it up, what would you say? And I said, we do research for people who don't have time to, right? Essentially, that's, you know, because let's be real, not everybody has the time, you know, from their 9 to 5s and all that kind of stuff to be doing research, right? To be doing all these deep dives on their own. It's easier for them to just kind of listen, and that, you know, that's why, like Max and Rue, you know, I think you guys are really, really appreciated in a lot of the stuff that you do, because people don't have time to do those deep dives, right?
Oh, you too, brother. I mean, you're very appreciated too. I know you might want to highlight a couple comments before we wrap it up, because I know that you said you got like roughly 10 minutes. I did want to ask you something specifically in regard to Jasmine, because I know we're going to cover that and it won't take that long.
Yep.
All right.
Go ahead.
So I want to share this first to make sense of it. Okay. All right. Let's share this real quick. Let's pull this up. Shout out to Jasmine Thailand. He makes you know, some great points here, because we're talking about regulations and so on. And this is why I wanted to include Jasmine real quick. It says, Jasmine built for the regulation era. No hype, just structure. Well, many crypto projects are afraid of new regulators or regulations. Jasmine is built for regulation from day one. With Paul Atkins leading the new SEC direction, the United States is moving from sue first, explain later. Set clear rules, then let innovation grow. And only compliance-ready projects will survive. Rob pointed this out earlier, but that Jasmine is the only regulatory compliant cryptocurrency, technically speaking, in Japan. Hence the term Bitcoin in Japan was the first one. New SEC era equals demand for legal infrastructure. The next crypto cycle is about clarity, transparency, institutional readiness. Japanese compliance, DNA, you name it, data laws, privacy laws, all this stuff, right? Again, we talked about this. All right, when we come back to this, or why we specifically mention this, Cointelegraph reported earlier today that SEC Chair Paul Atkins plans to fast-track some crypto products, temporarily allowing certain tokenized securities to trade while long-term rules are developed. So to me, when I saw this tweet from Jasmine Thailand, I'm like, you know, this all makes sense. And more importantly, here's how it really, really comes full circle. Hara pointed out a while back that their CTO, Dr. Hollerit, pitched at KO Chainhack 2026. He basically made his pitch and they got first place. Now think about this. It says Junction, which is their layer 2, is now scaling to the next stage. Solution is not simply building more AI data centers domestically, but basically having GPUs in Japan are still costly, but their focus is different approach, leveraging the large volumes of GPUs already secured by global enterprises for internal use. Now, I'm going to tell on myself, all right? I asked Grok, I said, I got this analogy. I said, based off of the statements that we saw from Hara and this guy, Dr. Hollerit, winning that first place, I said, basically speaking, if you look at Quant Network, they're leveraging all blockchains through the Overledger. To me, this is Jasmine's unique opportunity through Junction to accomplish something similar, but with GPUs, providing actual documents that pound this home. Well, they do, and if anything, maybe Rob and I can do this on a chopped up video. But everything pointed towards the analogy of being a real true thing, and here's the answer right here at the bottom. These documents collectively emphasize Jangshin's unique opportunity to aggregate enterprise GPUs to decentralized network, integrating with Jasmine's ecosystem directly, with my analogy, to Overledger's blockchain unification. So if you think about it, let's come back in the frame. My analogy that they're using GPUs to do this form of ledger or leverage. By definition, we talked a lot about quant. By definition, what does quant do? It's leveraging even things that are outside of blockchain. It's leveraging all of it. Integrations with ADP, Zero, Intuit, QuickBooks, you name it, Stripe, et cetera, et cetera. But when I look in Jasmine and what they're looking to do with this layer 2, this Janction thing, it's kind of like a form of Overledger, quant's Overledger, but with GPUs moving forward. And that spells some huge things moving forward, right? And I think people, they dismiss that. They come in and they see Janction, they're like, oh, this is another token. But that solves the problem that Jasmine has always had at the very beginning, and that is they need to scale. They have that scalability. They have things like Chainlink with the interoperability. I want to get some of your thoughts on that, because I know we're wrapping this up, my friend, but you went to Japan, you met with the big head honcho, Hara, and so on. Man, I mean, there's just, when you get into the fundamentals of this, sometimes I can't sleep.
Well, here's the thing. Going back to what we talked about with Zbeck and how right now they don't have any competition in what they're doing. And I think that what's really, really slept on, maybe it's just misunderstood and lost in all the translation, is that Janction is in the exact same situation as Zbeck in that sense. There is no competition for what they're doing. They have found a niche or narrative and a demand that has a supply that has a massive demand but very little supply. GPU processing power, CPU processing power, very, very expensive and hard to come by. And what they're doing is they're making it affordable for companies to rent by the hour, and they're making it accessible by collecting and creating the world's largest cloud of GPU processing power that people can have access to. This is going to incentivize so many. Janction is going to become, and I said this morning, one of the largest projects, most likely ecosystems in the AI infrastructure narrative out of nowhere. Because, again, I asked Hara straight to his face, as you guys know, do you plan on using the GPU processing power cloud that you have through Janction to incentivize Web3 developers, metaverse, Web3 gaming projects, and AI agents and AI developers to either migrate over to Jasmine Chain, Janction's ecosystem, or to get them to launch there? And he looked me dead in the eye and said, obviously, right? So not only are these companies going to be able to have access to this processing power, but for development, but they're going to have it at probably an incentivized price as well on top of that. So again, very, very slept on, in my opinion. And I think it's going to be one of those 0 to 100 in 60 seconds, right? People are going to look around and go, how the heck did Janction become one of the high cap projects in the AI narrative all of a sudden in their ecosystem? And that's exactly why, because these companies are going to flock to that ecosystem to get their piece of that, what they need to develop their projects at the end of the day, right?
And that whole narrative, AI narrative, and that AI compute narrative is going to be the hottest narrative for the next couple of years. Like, look at Project Stargate and what Trump's doing there with SoftBank, OpenAI, and Oracle, along with Microsoft and NVIDIA. So that's going to be a very, very hot narrative for the next couple of years here.
Yeah, we do want to recognize the super chat from Benja Car I2M.
Ben.
I don't. Huh?
I just call him Ben.
Oh, okay. Well, go for it.
He's asking you and Rue your thoughts on Layer 0.
Oh, my bad. Yeah, just like a thumbnail, sometimes people glance at it. Sorry about that.
Yeah, no worries.
Any thoughts on that? I don't have any thoughts on that, because some people are like, you don't know about this, you don't know about that. Guess what? There's projects I know about that you don't know about, and so vice versa. There's only so much time in a day, but no, I don't want to BS you. That wouldn't be nice. I'm not fully aware of it. I mean, maybe I am, and I'm just not recognizing the ticker symbol. Rue, are you aware of this? Like, what's the full name on this one?
Layers. I mean, I looked into it a little bit. There are some connections there with Zbeck. and there's some connections there with Securitize as well. But I'd like to do more research before I give anyone like a full thorough opinion on it. But yeah.
Yeah, sorry about that. We do appreciate you dropping the $5 super chat. I mean, maybe that's like, man, a little bit disappointed on that, but our main thing is if we don't know, some other people be like, oh yeah, I know about that one. No, we're not going to do that here. If we don't know about, we're not going to, even try to BS you on that. So, but thank you so much. It does mean a lot.
Layer Zero is their baby over on our trading in our swing trade group on the Patreon right now. It's their baby over there. So.
Oh, I get it. So it's something you introduced. So obviously you have your thoughts because you already shared it on your private group. There you go.
No, I didn't share it. All credit goes to Ben.
All right.
Found it.
Very
it's
cool.
their baby over in the chat. Yeah.
Well, shout to your community then, your private community on Patreon. So thank you for that, Ben.
Absolutely, man. Absolutely. Yeah. See, it's their baby. Layer Zero is huge. It's gonna be huge.
When I think of Layer Zero, is like I'm just thinking like stereotypical Layer Zeros, like your polka dots and so on. When somebody says it, but literally this is like CRO Layer Zero. That's actually like the company. So I get it. I know we got to wrap it up. I do want to answer this question real quick, and I also want to get you to chime in real quick, Rob. If you click on JP Phil's comment before we wrap it up, if you don't mind. If Jasmy is compliant Japan, why can't I buy it on Japanese exchange account BitBank? My answer to this, maybe people don't disagree with this. My answer is basically for the same reason that there's a lot of regulatory compliant cryptocurrencies on other exchanges that are not listed. It just depends on the exchange. The exchange may have their own reasons for not listing that. I've seen, for example, Stellar XLM. You would think that would be listed everywhere. It's not. There's numerous other ones out there, right? But basically speaking, it is regulatory compliant. We just mentioned this earlier, Rob. I think the other day somebody was trying to send you XRP, or you're talking about XRP about some particular exchange, right? You're trying to promote something. Maybe it was on the private group. I'm not trying to tell.
I was trying to send XRP from one crypto exchange to another, and it took 5 hours.
Right. So my point is this, right? My point I'm trying to make is that that's not Ripple's fault. Right?
No.
Because I've seen XRP trail super fast, like it says, 3 to 5 seconds. Actually, even before that, it was actually lived up to all the hype. It was instantly. So again, it's the exchanges. If you're gonna put blame, it's the exchange's fault, unfortunately. So, and that's part of the game. I mean, again, they might have a requirement that they want a certain amount from Jasmy to have that, as far as that, Jasmy coming to them saying, hey, we want to be listed there, and they didn't meet that criteria as far as the cost of that. You got to keep in mind, it doesn't matter what cryptocurrency it is, there is a large cost, especially like crypto.com or any of those, right? Those are like, Rob, tier 1 exchanges and so on. There's tier 2s, but they all have the requirements and so on. So it doesn't mean just because they're compliant that every single exchange gets a listing. That's the point I'm trying to make.
Yeah, I typed this in real quick with one hand, but first of all, I just want to say that Jasmy not being listed on BitBank is not the standard for legal compliance in the country. First of all, respectfully, but also you can look it up for yourself. I asked, is Jasmy legally compliant in Japan? Short answer, yes. Jasmy is legally compliant in Japan. It was the first cryptocurrency listed on a Japanese exchange, BitPoint, in 2021. So this stuff is not hard to find for yourself. At the end of the day, you just gotta know where to look, right?
Yep. And who's connected to BitPoint? SBI. And who's also connected to BitPoint? Genki Oda. And so who's Genki Oda? He's basically like the SEC chair for Japan. I mean, they don't have an SEC. So again, think about that, right? And again, when you look into BitPoint, we just showed a drone show. Guys, go look at some of this stuff. For real, we put in intros for a reason. It shows literally over Japan a drone show. It says BitPoint. Immediately after all the drones kind of do their firework drone display, boom, Jasmy. Like you're finding out, and then you see Genki Oda from BitPoint. Again, with SBI Japan, and then he's sitting right next to who? He's sitting right next to Sato-san of, former Sony and obviously part of the executive team over at Jasmy. So, I would just encourage, like some of you guys point out in the comments, we could do these speeches all we want, but we need to do more of our own research. I would agree.
Yeah. All good bros. Rob said he's in with the Zebekians. She's in with the Zebekians. There you go. Like Rue said, there are some loose connections over with Zebek there. So absolutely. And Michael Gulby says spent 2.5 hours tonight on a simple problem on Coinbase. So my thought is, yes, the exchanges are the problem.
Oh, especially Coinbase. I mean, they get all the attention. It's always Coinbase and Binance, the two dominant ones that get all the attention. I don't even bother, honestly, with Coinbase, other than like something like SwiftCoin, right, Rob, where you can pay in US dollars instead of getting charged in ETH gas fees. But me personally, my original, I know we got to go, Rob. My first original favorite exchange, Rue can attest to this, was KuCoin, but they kicked us off of that. My new favorite exchange, believe it or not, is Kraken. Oh my gosh, with that Stripe integration, it was so easy. I said to myself, this is how every exchange should be. Absolutely seamless. That's where I believe I purchased Canton on. I know some people say Canton. I'm old school. Canton Grill. Yeah. I got it from there. It was so easy. It was easier than Crypto.com. It was easier than some of these other exchanges. I gotta be honest, man. Kraken is my favorite one, currently speaking. If I got to go with an exchange, I'm going to go with them, man. It was a piece of cake.
Speaking of favorite exchanges, mine is actually BTCC. That's where I do all my trading. I trade gold and silver.
Yeah, there's that too. There's that too. Of course, that's our sponsor, right?
And by the way, guys, I hope you don't mind if I plug this. Next Friday, the three of us are going to be doing an interview with one of the reps over at BTCC. And it'll be released on all of our channels shortly after that, probably the following week. So keep an eye out for that, guys, because it's a great exchange in my opinion. So
yeah, and we talked about BSV earlier. You could get BSV on on BTCC. BSV used to be very hard to get. We talked about Jasmine. Jasmine's on there, so shout out to BTCC.
Hell yeah! All right, guys. Well, listen, this is we got to start doing this more often, I think. Seems like it's pretty successful. So
yeah, I took a glimpse at it, and I did see that we had a little over 250 combined.
Almost 300 of them.
Yeah, I took a glance earlier. I think my high was like 110 on YouTube. You guys are kicking my butt on X, but it ain't about that. So it's all three communities. So thank you. Hey, can we highlight Michael Golpe real quick before we go? Guys, call to action. Go to this guy's channel at Michael Golpe. You see him there? He's like this. He's always on his journey in his car, going to work or someplace like that. He's sharing his perspectives, et cetera, et cetera. We had him on recently. I've had him on numerous times as well. A fantastic guy who's part of the space, who covers all, obviously the ISOs, you name it, everything that, for the most part that we cover as well. But if you like something a little bit different and a different spin on things, and, you're going to give an honest opinion, no, as he would say, he's not a cheerleader or any of that. Check out his channel. It's at Michael Golpe. And if you're on X, you could also follow him at Michael Golpe. He'd more than appreciate it. Always support those that we're networked with in the space, the community, and so on. That's what we are. We're a community, right? And we share sometimes your comments. Sometimes you guys will tag us on X. Francisco, I know you tag me a lot and so on. I apologize, man. I've been getting a flood of stuff. I'm trying to keep up with it. It's been really, really challenging. I know that sounds like an excuse, but it's a real thing. We all of us, we get a lot of messages. All you can do is just encourage you guys to join things like the Patreon, where at least there is you'll see it. But if you don't want it, that's all good too. We're more than blessed to have you. Thank you so much.
And Ben says, go to bed dreaming of ZRO deep dives. Thanks, guys. Hey, absolutely, Ben.
Nice.
We love you, brother. Ben is actually another brother in Christ. So.
Oh, well, awesome, man. May the Lord Jesus bless you always, man. We mean that. Thank you.
Absolutely. All right, guys. So I will talk to you guys probably later tonight or tomorrow.
Sounds good. It's been I've been up since like 5 a.m. So I think I'm gonna go pass out. I don't even know if I eat dinner. I'm just gonna go to my chair and die. My comfy recliner. I'm just gonna go there and die and then wake up later.
Okay, yeah. Let's add that part.
All right, guys.
Yeah.
Once
Not
again,
literally die, you know, man. Yeah.
for everybody who came out to support all three of our channels, guys, and our X accounts, thank you so much for being here. Thanks for the questions. Thanks for the super chats. Thank you guys for liking, subscribing, and we're going to do this more often because it seems that you guys really like it. So we're going to keep it going.
Yes, sir. And if you listen to the end, type in Michael Golpe into the comments. Let us know who's paying attention. Shout out to Michael Golpe again. We'll see you guys. Over and out.
God bless.